Mantai, I want to start this conversation off with you. When did you get a sense that from a peaceful protest on Sunday, it was going to end up being more than just a march?
Well, after the massive peaceful march on Sunday, I knew that some protesters were planning to stay behind, and one group staged a sit-in outside the Legislative Council building. But the big question was, what about the others, right? And I had a gut feeling the worst case scenario would be someone trying to break into the building in order to stop the meeting. And because it did happen before. And the next thing I knew was right after midnight, dozens of protesters stormed in to the area in front of the entrance and clashed with the police. And some of them even picked up barricades and piled them up and try to push towards the police, and they didn't succeed. So the police respond with lots of pepper spray and batons, and it was violent. And but we had no idea at the time that we would see tear gas and rubber bullets in a few days.
So Jeffie, I want to ask you, you were able to talk to some of the protesters. Why were they so determined to be out there? Because they were camped out there overnight, they endured the heat, they stood there for hours in the rain. Why was that young crowd on the ground so defiant?
A lot of people fear, like, once the law is passed, the firewall between mainland and Hong Kong will be taken away. If the law is passed, anybody, which not only Hong Kongers but also like businessmen and also tourists who are in Hong Kong, could be extradited to mainland China, where there's no guarantee of fair trial.
And also there is a fear in society. A lot of people worry about the anti-extradition law, and some even think that this one is actually even worse than the anti-extradition law.
Right. So, to the both of you, the images that we saw immediately reminded us of the Occupy movement back in 2014. Jeffie, how were the protests this time different?
So unlike 5 years ago, where there's a clear leader or organizer of the whole march or whole protest, this time there's no clear leader. We don't have any Benny Tai, we don't have any Joshua Wong. I think it's a lesson they learned from Occupy. After Occupy, everybody becomes skeptical of having a single leader leading the whole movement because the spectrum is so wide. Like, some want to take a more confrontational approach towards the police, towards the authorities, while some prefer peaceful sit-in. So this time everybody wants to have a voice. They just respect each other's choice of protest. And another thing is, people tend to put up masks during the protest. I think it is completely different from the Occupy movement. I guess it's because over the past 5 years, people know prosecution is real. And that's why they want to protect their own identity.
So going forward, what are the challenges that they will be facing?
Well, I would expect more protests on the way if the government, still goes ahead with the bill, because there's still a lot of people are very angry, especially after the use of tear gas and rubber bullets.
Yeah, many people are not happy with the police handling of protests on Wednesday, and there's definitely going to be more protests. And rioting is punishable in jail for up to 10 years, and definitely it could be a factor to determine whether they want to show up in future protests.
Okay, well, Mantai and Jeffie, we shall be following your reports very closely in the days ahead. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.